It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish. If this is your very first time tuning in, a huge welcome. We are now in our 16th season, and we're listened to in over 35 countries around the world. We are so excited to do a podcasting series, and this one is called Determined Not Distracted. This mini-series serves as your blueprint for a high-impact year, distilling success into three non-negotiables: goal clarity, resilience, and commitment. By sharpening your focus, hardening your mental toughness, and anchoring your habits in discipline, you'll shift from chasing temporary inspiration to achieving unstoppable year-long momentum. I am very, very excited to be introducing you to a new diva into our family, and she is going to be such a wonderful addition. Her name is Lisa Clements. Lisa, welcome to the Divas That Care.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, I'm really excited to get you onto the show finally because you have a topic we're going to be chatting about today, and I think it's going to really resonate with our listeners.
Good. I hope so.
So, Lisa, would you mind introducing yourself to our listeners today?
Sure. I am a career changer. Actually, I'm 52 years old, single, never married. I live in Kansas City. I have two dogs who are just my sweet little children. And I'm a financial advisor and investment manager. But prior to that, I worked in the corporate world for 24 years in HR and recruiting, worked for companies like Accenture and Cerner, now Oracle, Facebook, now Meta, and yeah, had a very exciting career, lived internationally, lived across the US, and really wanted to settle in here near family in the Midwest. So that's what I've done, and went through that kind of dark, what do they call that? The dark night of the soul, where you feel like you're supposed to move on from what you're doing, but you're not quite sure what you're stepping into next. And dealt with that for a couple of years and ultimately landed in the financial services arena, working for and with women.
I love that. Why did you decide to work with women?
For me, it was because every time I tried to get financial help, I was referred to old white men who were saying things like, well, we can talk about that when you get married. And I was like, well, I don't, gosh, at the time I was 35, 40 years old and had no idea if marriage was going to be on the table or not. I still don't. And I need to be able to plan for myself as an independent woman, whether someone comes into my life or not. And I thought, gosh, there's got to be people out there that I can talk to who can relate or understand the weight, the burden it is to carry all the responsibility by yourself. And not to say that married people don't have that same burden. In fact, sometimes it's more challenging because they're trying to navigate two personalities and two, lists of desires and goals. But it's a different animal. And so I want to walk alongside of women who have felt that and want them to know they're not alone. Yes, I understand that burden and that weight of carrying all the financial responsibility alone and how hard it is to make massive financial decisions. And then the second point to that, finally, and I'll be quiet. The second point is so many financial advisors out there just manage money and they charge you 1% of your account value a year to do it. But they're not looking at your goals, your tax situation, your estate planning, your risks. Like, do you need insurance? Should you have life insurance? Should you have a disability policy? if you're not working for an employer that already provides that. And true financial planning is looking at the whole picture. And I don't think a lot of people know that.
I like that. And you're doing it in a holistic way. I think it's really important for our listeners to understand that it's not just one thing. Like you're saying that you're working on the whole picture.
Exactly, exactly.
And Lisa, do you work with just people in Kansas or do you work with people all over the United States?
All over the United States. Thanks to Zoom, I in fact do most of my meetings, even with with some of my local clients. We do it on Zoom anyway because it's just very time efficient.
I love that. So I know this is kind of a crazy question because I live up in Canada and the United States and Canada are a little bit differently, but do you have to have like insurance in every state or how does that work?
To be a registered investment advisor,
Yes.
yes, you have to be registered in your the state that you live in. And then if you have five or more clients in a particular state, you need to get registered in that state. So right now, I'm pretty spread out so that I don't have, other than Kansas, I'm up to, three or four clients per state. So I'm only registered in Kansas, but am authorized to work in any state in
I
the
love
United
that.
States.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I think that's really cool. We do have quite a few international listeners and a lot in the United States. So this is great. And it's different. You know, you are offering something that a lot of people don't really have an understanding about. They know that they have to save their money, they need to do this. And I want to talk to you about why it is important to have somebody like yourself, a financial planner in a person's life.
It is important because are the financial industry is filled with jargon. And it's filled with terminology that I think creates artificial barriers for us to invest, for us to understand insurance or, God forbid, annuities or and let me tell you right off the bat, I don't sell any products. I act as a representative to my clients and work with wholesalers if they need a particular product. So it makes no difference to me, but there are many situations where a woman's situation, and this happens with families too, but an annuity might give her the kind of reliable income she's looking for in retirement. But you don't know, many women don't even know about an annuity, for example, or why you'd want one. Um, a lot of people invest too conservatively. So I have clients in their 30s who have come to me and said, "Oh, Lisa, I think I want to go 50% bonds, 50% stocks." And I'm like, "Oh, no, let's talk about that because at that age, if you're saving for retirement, you need to be mostly equities at 30 years old. If you're thinking your investment time horizon is 20 to 30 years, for example. Another example of where working with someone like me helps is I look at my client's tax situation. So I have a gal right now who's making six figures, and she was putting 100% of her 401k into the pre-tax portion of her 401k. And that's great because it reduces, you get to deduct that amount from your taxable income in the year that you make the contribution in your 401k. But when you finally go to pull that money out in retirement, 100% of it is going to be taxed at whatever your tax rate is in 30 years. Whereas a Roth contribution, if you have that option in your 401k, a Roth is after tax money. So while you don't get to deduct it from your income this year, once it's in there, you never pay tax on Roth investments ever again, as long as you're pulling them out in retirement. And I'm like, I myself for 10 to 12 years didn't even know why a Roth was such a big deal. I didn't get it. And I thought, oh, I want the benefit of the deduction now. And here I am now in my 50s going, gosh, I wish I would have put more money into my Roth when I was in the 12 to, 20% tax brackets versus being in the 20+% tax brackets.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm finding a lot of people are talking about retirement not happening as soon as they are thinking, that it's later in life now.
Very much so. They used to call it a three-legged retirement stool, where they said, oh, it's Social Security, your pensions, and retirement income, and then your savings, like brokerage accounts or savings accounts. But now they're calling it a four-legged retirement stool, and they're saying you have to plan your retirement income by Social Security, pensions or retirement plans or retirement accounts, any savings accounts, brokerage investments. That means like a tradable stock account, for example. But the fourth leg that they are working in everybody's plan is what's your part-time job going to be? And I'm like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
it's just becoming a fact of life because of extended lifespans, because of increased costs, inflation being what it is, etc.
Well, and that's exactly why I thought today would be perfect to have you on because we're talking right now why it's important to have goal clarity, resilience, and commitment. And I think this is what you're helping people with exactly those three things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just had a call this morning with a client, in fact, who, talking about discipline, having a clear goal and then being disciplined to follow through. She really wants to put money into a brokerage account, which you can do at Charles Schwab or Fidelity or Vanguard. You can open an account, put money in and invest it in stocks. And she really wants to do that because she wants the returns of the stock market. And so many of my clients are seeing anywhere between 18 and 28% returns on their portfolios. And so she wants to do that, but she's got a Discover credit card with $12,000 of debt on it. And Discover is charging 22%. It's actually like 21.79% interest. And so the discipline and the resilience comes in because I myself am victim to it also. I get distracted by shiny things and the idea of, ooh, I want to invest money, I want to make money. Ugh, it doesn't, it's putting you in a negative cash flow or actually hurting your net worth if you're not paying off the credit card debt with a 22% interest rate attached to it. Does that make sense? I don't know if I
Yes.
explained that very
It
clear.
actually that made perfect sense. And you don't want to be stuck and you don't want because I always think about what if something were to happen and an
Right,
emergency happens and you don't have something as your safety net. What would happen then?
right. Right, exactly. And I'm even okay when you're first building wealth, like, yeah, you have a credit card as your emergency backup if you need to, but don't carry debt on it if you can at all avoid it. And certainly
Yep.
pay off the debt before you start other investing.
I love that advice. That is wonderful advice. And I think more people need to understand that a little bit better.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
Lisa,
for sure.
what kind of things, if our listeners are wanting to contact you, how can they how can they contact you? And what are like the first steps?
Yeah, yeah. My website is clearspringswealth.com. And I have a contact button on there and a Calendly link so you can schedule a 15-minute call just to, we can have a quick one-on-one and say, what's your situation? How can I help? And really the first thing I do is just say, kind of lay it out for me. Where are you right now? How much saved? How much in debt? What is it you want to accomplish? And it is not uncommon for me to say, it doesn't make sense to pay me for help yet. First, do these three things and then come back to me, and then I can invest money for you and make you money. But other times it's like, oh no, you're in a situation where I can help you reduce your tax bill, or we need to get you some, some better, let's say rental insurance for the apartment you're living in, or we need to get you life insurance for your kids because you're post-divorce and if something happened to you, they'd need finances to help close everything out or pay for final expenses, etc. So if I see any glaring things, I'll be sure to point it out. Um, Sometimes I'll say, hey, here are the two things I do before working with me. And then sometimes I say, hey, you've got the plan underway. I can just, invest the money and try to get you better returns.
That's wonderful. I love that. Get to know you, see if it fits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. My big thing is, I want to work with women who we gel. You feel like you've got a buddy, someone you can trust on your side. That gets me excited. If someone's like, "Ugh, I don't know, hey, that's
Yeah.
okay too. I can even refer you out to other people if we don't click.
Well, that's fantastic. Oh, I love it. And I do. I love your website. So for our listeners, go and check this amazing website out. And I liked when your pictures there and it says single women can be rich. And I think that's what really drew me to you because I do. I know so many single women and a lot of them are like, well, I don't know if I should what I should be doing. But in the long run, I find that they're doing better off than sometimes people that are in relationships because you're saying you're right. You have got a lot of accumulated debt and a lot of personality differences, and not everybody wants to do the things the same way. So
Yeah.
even doing it by yourself would be so much easier.
Yeah. 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 If you just have like someone you can bounce idea, like a thought partner, then I think doing it yourself can be the best of situations.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so one of the things, Lisa, I always ask our amazing guests is do they have any tips, things that they can share with our listeners today to support them?
Hmm. The first thing I would say is please don't just kick the ball down the road. I have had personal friends that I've had to have heart to hearts with who are in their 40s and 50s and are like, oh gosh, Lisa, I just can't even think about it. And I'm like, no, 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 please, please, like, I need you to think about it because time is your best friend. And jumping on something now, even if it's just $20 a month, or $100 a month, letting it sit for the next 20 years and compound is going to help you so much versus waiting till you're 55 or 60, going, oh, I really do want to retire one day, and then trying to catch up. It's just, yeah, please, please take action out. No matter what you're afraid, I promise you it's not as bad as the stories you might be making up in your head. No matter how much debt you have, there is always a path out and start sooner than later because you'll be much further ahead in 10 to 20 years and future you will be so grateful. So that's my biggest number one piece of advice. My other one is to, if you have access to a Roth in your 401k or 403b or 450, so whatever your work retirement plan is, please look at the possibility of putting some of your retirement contribution into the Roth because in the future, it will help you give you more options as to how you pull money out in retirement.
Oh my gosh, that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Thank you so much. And for our listeners too, I just have to do a big shout out. Lisa has a resource part on her website, and she used to do a podcast. And so I want you guys to go check out her podcast. She's got free resources. She's got a blog. She's got questions there. Go check it out. It's an amazing site. And then contact her because I know that there's a lot of women that do turn into our podcast. Our tribe is full of them. And I think a lot of you would really like her. She is amazing. She's got the friendliest smile. I know you guys can't see her right now, but you are going to love her. Just her energy is contagious. So thank you so much, Lisa, for being on the Divas That Care. We are so honored that you were on this mini series, are determined, not distracted. I think that what you have shared with us today really resonates with all of us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. We had a blast. And to all of our amazing listeners out there, I will be posting all of Lisa's information, her social media, so that you can go and check her out. I really do really recommend go checking out the resources. You know, I've have a little bit of a background in financial planning myself and over the years, and but what she's offering you guys is so much more. And I really believe that everybody needs a financial planner to help them through life's ups and downs. You know, we never know what is going to happen, but having that reliable person that we can talk to, we can work with, it really does make a world of difference. So make sure you go check out Lisa, and also make sure that you do something kind. It's really important to spread kindness out there. So until next time, everyone, have an amazing day and take care.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.